Can you stuff a turkey good? Billy boy, Billy boy. Can you stuff a turkey good for Thanksgiving? She can stuff a turkey good like a turkey stuffer should. But she's a young thing and cannot leave her mother. Can she roast a turkey brown? Don't pay no attention to what Granny's singing, Turkey. Where'd you go? Here, Turkey, Turkey. Here, Turkey, Turkey. Don't be scared. Granny don't mean no harm. See, I brought you some nice stuffing. I mean bread.
Is she fixing gravy too, Billy boy, fixing giblet gravy too for Thanksgiving? Yes, she's fixing gravy too, like her mama used to do. She's a young thing and cannot leave her mother. Can she bake a pumpkin pie, Billy? Hold on, Ellie.
Oh, morning, Pa.
What you got there?
Oh, this here's a raccoon named Elmer.
Ellie Mae.
Yes, sir, Pa.
I know that's a raccoon named Elmer. What you got in the sack?
What sack?
Sack you toting?
Sack I'm toting?
Yeah, the sack that turkey just stuck his head out of.
Don't just stay out of sight.
Hey, come here.
Yes, sir, Pa.
Ellie Mae, I told you not to go friendlying up with that turkey bird so close before Thanksgiving.
Well, it wasn't me, Pa. It was Elmer here.
Was it Elmer chucked him in that sack?
Well, he didn't do it alone. I kind of helped him.
Kind of helped him take him out and put him back in his pen. Mr. Drysdale gave us that bird for a meal, not a pet.
He's awful smart, Pa, and friendly, too. Well, I learned him to shake hands.
Well, Ellie, he ain't likely to be going into politics.
I'll just take him out the sack, and he can shake hands with you.
I don't want to shake his hand. What's going to happen to him is bad enough without him thinking a friend done it to him. Put him back and leave him be.
Yes, sir, Pa. Come on, Elmer. Let's put poor old Herman back in the pen.
Herman. I declare, Duke, if Mr. Drysdale give us a string of weenies, that girl make pets out of them.
Ted, can I borrow that old hound dog for a minute?
Well, sure, Granny. What for?
The turkey got away, and I want old Duke to sniff out his trail.
Oh, you don't need old Duke, Granny.
Yes, I do, Jed. My nose ain't what it used to be.
It was Ellie let Herman out, the turkey.
Herman? Don't tell me she's making a pet out of our Thanksgiving victuals, is she?
No, she's putting him back.
Well, that's better. It's been a whole year since the Drysdale sat down at the table with us, and we got to put on the dog.
But don't worry, Duke. When folks says they're putting on a dog, it just means they're doing things fancy.
Yeah, Duke. Like dressing up in your Sunday go-to-meeting best and having victuals in the fancy eating room.
That reminds me, I told Jethro to put the company chairs around the fancy eating table. Let's go and see how he's doing.
Didn't aim to scare you, Duke. Come on now. Get them worry wrinkles out of your head. Us old folks has got to stick together.
Uncle Jed, Granny, Ellie, me, Mr. Drysdale, Mrs. Drysdale, Miss Jane.
How's it coming, Jethro?
Oh, fine, Uncle Jed.
All right, doggy, there's one thing you got to say about the folks out here. They believe in building a good, strong eating table. Why, you could serve up a whole barbecued steer on this thing and not bow it down.
Oh, yes, sir. Hey, you remember that little feller that came home from school with me the other day?
Yeah?
Well, he says this here room is what you call a billiard room. And this here table is what you call a billiard table. And you know what I got figured out?
What?
This here rascal must be what you call a billiard.
Hey, doggy, I always wondered what that critter was.
Mean looking, ain't he?
That's a fact. Judging from the size of his head, he must be monstrous big. I reckon that's why they had to build an extra strong table.
You reckon we could shoot one of these sometime?
They live around here in Beverly Hills?
I reckon so. This little feller says his pa shoots billiards a couple nights a week.
Kind of a night, do they?
Yes, sir.
I ain't so sure I'd want to run into him in the dark.
Awful ugly, huh?
Well, maybe that's one good thing about catching us a billiard. I don't reckon even Elliot'd want to make a pet out of him. Well, Granny, I'm ready for that gobbler.
Oh, praise be. If we leave him around Ellie much longer, he'll be wanting dessert and coffee with his meals.
All right now, Herman. You ain't gonna let him scare you no more. Is it a deal? Attaboy. Now, you do your best to make friends with everybody.
Hallie Mae, would you do me a favor?
Well, sure, Paul.
Would you, shinny up that walnut tree out back there and pick me a nice big sack of nuts?
I sure will, Paul, and you can visit with Herman.
Yeah. Hmm? Well, now, Herman, Mr. Gobbler, I reckon the quicker we get this over with, the better. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't usually refuse a hand offered in friendship, but in this case, I just got a feeling it wouldn't be lasting. No hard feelings. I got nothing against you. You're, as turkeys go, I reckon you're right up there with the best, but I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't look at me like that. Oh, what's the use? I can't do it. Reckon we just gotta shoot us one of them billiards for Thanksgiving. That there is what you call a Beverly Hills billiard.
I don't care what you call it. I ain't gonna cook it.
Granny, the folks that live here before us must have found it pretty tasty. This here table was built just special for billiards.
I don't care. Anything that looks that mean gotta taste mean. Besides, it's too big to cook.
I could dig you a barbecue pit out back.
No, sir. Mr. Drysdale give us a turkey, and I got the stuffing made. And by digs, I want that turkey cleaned and dressed and no more foolishness.
I'm sorry, Granny, I just can't do it. Maybe Jethro can. He ain't got acquainted with Herman like I have.
Do what, Granny?
Clean and dress a turkey. Can you do it?
I reckon so.
Well, get at it. It's back of the kitchen in that pen.
Yes, ma'am.
I declare, I never thought I'd see the day that Jed Clampett was scared to kill a turkey. Heaven help him if he ever meets up with a billiard.
And Granny, I got the turkey all cleaned and dressed.
Fetch him in. I'm ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Put him in the pan. What in tarnish? Do you call that dressing a turkey?
Well, I did the best I could. I didn't have no clothes that'd fit him. I borrowed them clothes from a little fella down the street. I think he's kind of cute myself. So does he. He even shook my hand.
Well, howdy there, Miss Jane.
Greetings, Mr. Clampett. I wonder if I might borrow one of Granny's ancient outdoor cooking pots.
Well, you bet you can. But ain't you taking Thanksgiving victuals with us?
Oh, yes, indeed. I merely wanted to borrow the venerable vessel as a photographic prop. You see, Mr. and Mrs. Drysdale are posing as Governor and Mrs. Bradford in a recreation of the first Thanksgiving some 342 years ago, when the Algonquins Squanto and Massasoit befriended the beleaguered Pilgrims and so made it possible to perpetuate the Plymouth colony and bring into being what is now one of the most important holidays in the American calendar.
What was it you wanted again?
Hot.
Oh, yeah. I'll fetch you right out.
Milburn, Harry! Oh, here you are. So sorry for the delay. Miss Hathaway is out getting a kettle, and Mr. Drysdale doesn't have his costume on as yet. Pale-faced squaw, descendant of Pilgrims. brother bring turkey for feast. Me grateful to red brother. Milburn, hurry!
What was she talking about? As near as I can figure, she's got a brother who's a communist.
What nation you from? You from Mohican? Kennebec? Algonquin? Where are you from?
Central casting.
Now you go and take the head off of that gobbler.
I just can't do that to a critter that keeps wanting to shake my hand.
What is the matter with you? Why, back home you used to bring home a great big gobbler every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but they was wild turkeys that hunted and shot out in the woods. They had a sporting chance.
Well, then you take iron out and turn it loose in the woods and hunt it.
Dang it, I think you got an idea there.
I hope so. When the Drysdale come to eat, they want to see that bird sitting on the table, not at it.
Oh, sorry to keep noble chiefs waiting. Husband not in costume yet. If Indian thirsty, pale-faced squaw, be happy, bring refreshment.
Crazy, I'll have a beer. Make mine a dry martini.
Indian want fire water?
Very dry. 10 fire water to 1 vermouth.
Hey, where y'all going with Herman?
Oh, Jethro and me's taking him out in the woods to go hunting.
Oh, good, he'll like that.
Hey, you want to go hunting with us, Ellie? I brung Granny's shotgun.
Well, no, Ellie can't do that. She's got to take them walnuts into her granny. And then she's got to go find her granny some hickory nuts.
Well, where, Pa? I ain't seen a single hickory tree on this whole place.
Well, why don't you try over to the Drysdale? They might just have one.
Yes, sir.
Why, they ain't got none to
Hurry with the hickory nuts. Drive on, Jethro. Bye, Ellie.
Bye. Have a good time, Herman.
There. We're going to have a very authentic reproduction of the first Thanksgiving. Massasoit? And you, Pasquanto.
No, lady. That's the clown that rides around with the Lone Ranger.
Hi-ho!
No, I won't do it. I won't.
Please, Milburn.
Not have my picture taken in this ridiculous getup.
But it'll be in the society section tomorrow.
Oh, no, it won't.
Please, Redskin help pale-faced squaw.
Pale-faced squaw, speak with forked tongue. No bring redskin firewater.
Hot, Miss Hathaway, quickly. 1 beer and 1 firewater. Dry martini.
I could use one of those myself.
Grab him.
No.
Oh, Milburn, I'll fix you a drink myself. I just don't want you disappearing again.
Let go of me.
Sorry, mister. You no pose, we no get paid.
Come on. Hold still.
She's a young thing and...
Granny, get the gun. Injuns, get your guns. The Injuns is attacking.
Injuns! You mean Redskin savages?
Yes, ma'am, they's on the warpath. They done captured Mr. Drysdale.
Where's my gun, Ellie? Ellie, where's my gun, Ellie?
Jethro took it to the woods with him this morning when him and Pa went hunting.
Just like my granny always said. Them Redskins wait until the men folks disappear with the guns, and then they attack.
What do we do, Granny?
We'll fight them tooth and nail. We'll sell our scalps dear. Come on, child, but protect your hair.
Now then, happy pilgrims, happy Algonquin. Chief, you look terrible.
What do you want for this kind of dough? Custer's last stand?
Oh, no. I meant my chief, Mr. Drysdale. Now then, everyone, smile. Smile. Hold it. Excellent.
Goodbye, all.
Wait, Milburn. The next is the most important picture of all, where the Indians give us the turkey.
Oh, Margaret.
I shall reload the camera while you get the bird.
Where is the turkey? It was in a crate right over there.
Well, that's the one you mean I gave to the Clampetts.
You what?
Well, they did invite us over for Thanksgiving dinner. It seemed the least I could do.
I am not eating with those dreadful people.
Then I am not posing for these dreadful pictures.
Please, Milburn, go get the turkey back.
Oh, they'll think I'm an Indian giver. No offense, Bella.
Then I'll get it.
Oh, no. I'm not going to have you insulting them.
Look, tell us where the turkey is, and we'll get it.
At the Clampetts. Right through that hedge.
Right through there? Come on, friend. Right through there.
Oh, tell them you just want to borrow it. They can have it back.
There's two of them coming through the hedge. They ain't toting guns. We'll hide and ambush them. Remember now, don't let them grab your hair. Jump in! Where'd everybody go? Come on, let's hide. Let's hide.
Well, I reckon we gotta go in and face Granny.
She's gonna be powerful mad.
Yeah, but Ellie's gonna be powerful happy. With Herman, that's two happies to one mad.
I'm kind of happy myself.
So am I, Jethro. Well, let's get him around the back. You fetch the gun. Come on, Herman. Outside of a politician, I ain't never seen any critter so all-fired anxious to shake a man's hand.
Keep a sharp lookout, Ellie. Them redskins is tricky rascals.
Yes'm, Granny.
Keep quiet, you! Don't you try to signal the rest of your tribe. Lay down! You hair-stealing varmint!
Granny, I hear something. It's a turkey gobble. There it is again.
Don't let it fool you, child. That's an old Indian trick. They're sneaking up to attack.
Lucky, here comes Pa and Jethro with the gun.
We saved! We saved, Ellie! We saved! We saved! We saved! Oh, quick! Let him in before they get an arrow in the back. Now you're gonna get it, you red devils!
Granny, what tarnation you got here?
Some bloodthirsty savages, that's what we got here. And don't you never go off and leave us without any firearms, unless you want to come home and find a couple of bald-headed women.
Yeah, they tried to scalp us, and we jumped them first.
Well, how in the world could there be wild Indians in Beverly Hills?
Any place that can have them ornery-looking billiards can have Indians.
The next time you get me a job like this, I want stuntman's pay.
Injun, I reckon you better stay till my Uncle Jed says you can go.
Oy vey is me.
Anybody understand Indian talk? Here, have a slug of Granny's rheumatism medicine.
Thank you.
Get the kinks out of your joints.
So, here you are, lollygagging while we're waiting. And you, always after the firewater. You'll never work for me again.
If I do, I'll want to read the script first.
Me? Well, shame on you. No, I warned you not to come over here and insult these people.
I'm not insulting anybody. I'm being insulted.
Oh, baloney.
What's keeping everybody? The turkey's right outside.
Don't you dare touch Herman.
Seems to me that Thanksgiving is a mighty poor time for folks to be yelling and arguing at one another. I realize we got a whole heap of misunderstandings to sort out, and I think we all ought to sit down and start sorting them out. Granny, this is mighty fine Thanksgiving victuals.
Best tasting fish I ever had.
What do you say this is called again, Chief?
Gefilte fish. My mother fixed it.
I dingy, you Indians sure do know how to cook.
That's a fact, Granny. That there chicken soup was the best ever.
Everything is delicious.
Marvelous dinner.
Delightful.
Herman and me sure like it, don't we, Herman?
By the way, Mr. Clampett, do you know you're eating on a billiard table?
Yes, sir, I do. And next year, we're gonna have us one of them rascals for Thanksgiving.
I still say I ain't gonna cook it.
I'd like to strike up a bargain with you.
What's that, Paul?
If they won't eat in my kitchen, I won't eat in their tree.
Well, it ain't their fault they're in here. They'd heap rather eat in a tree.
Then why ain't they?
'Cause Granny's making soap on it. These poor little critters couldn't hardly stand it.
Yeah, Granny's lye soap of cooking does give off some right powerful fumes.
Miss Jane says it's commencing to kill Miss Drysdale's hibiscus.
What's a hibiscus?
Some kind of a flower plant. Miss Drysdale's got a prize one that sits right next to her patio.
Drysdale place does sit downwind of our pond, don't it?
Yes, sir.
I'll have to speak to Granny about cooking her soap someplace else. You know, I've seen them fumes bring a full-grown mule right down to her knees.
Hey, Granny, some more of the bark off this tree just fell into your soap.
That's all right, Jethro. It'll dissolve.
Hey, have you noticed some of the branches is turning a mite brown, puckering up?
Yeah, I reckon the bugs is after it.
Could it be your soap?
Nah, bugs won't go near my soap.
Oh, howdy, Miss Drysdale.
What's the matter, honey? You got the sniffles?
Oh, no, it's not that. Granny, could I speak to you over there?
Why, sure, honey, and don't you cry. Whatever's troubling you, I'm here to help. Now. Dry them tears and tell old Granny what's got you to bawling like that.
It's your soap.
Oh, you can have all you want. Feel better now?
It's not that. It's the vapor.
Is it bad?
Yes. In fact, I've just had dreadful news from my nurseryman.
What'd he say?
He said, unless you do something, he's going to have to take out my hibiscus.
No! Oh, I'll help you. Don't let them go to cutting on you.
Morning, Miss Drysdale. Right sorry about your hibiscus.
Jed, maybe she'd rather not talk about it in front of you.
Oh, no, that's all right. I'm glad Mr. Clampett is here. As you know, your pool area practically adjoins my garden.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm giving a garden party this afternoon about 3. You will be through cooking soap and hanging wash by then, won't you?
Oh, can we, yeah?
Oh, please do. The very best people in Beverly Hills will be there. And I was hoping that you folks would cooperate.
Oh, we'd be glad to cooperate.
You betcha we will. But even with our help, should you be giving a party with your ailing hibiscus?
I shall rise above that.
Well, don't let him take it out. I'll doctor it back to health for you.
Thank you. Perhaps tomorrow. Now, remember, the party is from 3 until about 5:30. And I'll appreciate it if all of you will be as inconspicuous as possible. Perhaps Jethro could drive you around in the truck.
Oh, no need to do that. We can walk over to your place.
And we'll be on time, too.
3 o'clock sharp.
Granny, this poor little critter just can't stand no more of your soap cooking.
Well, let him go some other place then.
Take him over your place for a while, Miss Drysdale.
Oh, bye, Miss Drysdale. You want some hot soap to take home with you? Your soap's done, Granny. It's commencing to thicken.
I'll put the fire out.
Thank you, Jed. Now, Ellie, get rid of that skunk and start taking down the clothes. We gotta all pitch in and help Miss Drysdale with her party.
Is she having a party?
She is with our help. Poor woman. She has an ailing hibiscus.
I know, Miss Jane told me.
Hey, Granny, what's a hibiscus?
Never mind, that's doctor's talk.
Well, we've been studying the human body over to school, but we ain't never studied that.
Of course not. That's for grown-ups. Now get this. No, Ellie. It's a long time since I run into anyone with a ailing hibiscus.
Yes?
Yeah. A funny thing. Not everybody has them in the same place.
Well, I reckon that's so.
Yeah. Did Miss Jane happen to mention where Miss Drysdale's is?
Yes, ma'am, Granny. She says it's right next to her patio.
Yeah, that's where the generally is. A right awkward place to poultice, too.
I might add that the construction of high-rise buildings in the Beverly Hills area is a contributory factor in the financial up... Who let these tramps in? Get out of here!
See here, you derelict. You're... Oh, Mrs. Drysdale. It's Ravenswood.
What?
Here, Milburn, have a skunk. That's only a toy. I was handed the real thing.
Margaret, what's the meaning of this masquerade?
It's a graphic illustration of what will happen this afternoon unless you do something about those hillbillies.
What do you mean?
They're going to crash my formal garden party.
Oh, nonsense. They couldn't care less about that tea-sipping poodle pack you run with.
That's true. I think they've been invited. And I warn you, Milburn, if they ruin my garden party...
No, Margaret, will you relax, dear? I'll solve this problem just as I've solved dozens of others. Now, you and Ravenswood run along home and I'll handle everything, all right?
All right.
Sir. And please take the freight elevator.
Tell me, Chief, just how do you plan to solve this problem?
Just as I've solved dozens of others, I'm turning it over to you.
Come on, get away from here. I got victuals to cook for Miss Drysdale's garden party.
What's a garden party, Granny?
I ain't sure I know. You, Jed?
Yeah, I've been studying on it some. I think I got it figured.
What you got figured?
Well, when folks has a barn-raising party, everybody comes over and helps you build a barn. When you have a quilting party, everybody gets together and makes a quilt. So I reckon when you got a garden party, everybody comes over and makes a garden.
That figures.
Jethro, you and me got to get the shovel and the spade and the tater fork all honed up nice and bright. Chances are these Beverly Hills society folks is going to show up with some fancy, shiny tools. Come on.
Just a minute. Just a doggone minute.
What's the matter?
Well, when I wanted to plow up our front yard and make a garden, it was the Drysdale that said I had an order. Now, how come they's making one?
I think I got that figured.
What you got figured?
I hear tell Miss Drysdale is overpowering fond of flowers. I reckon she wants to make a flower garden.
Yeah, that figures.
I reckon so.
Come on, Jethro. The ground will be turned.
Yeah, that figures. Oh, howdy, Miss Jane. It's good to see you. Kid, put an edge on this thing while I have a little private talk with Miss Jane.
Here, Granny.
Now, what is it, Granny?
I promised Miss Drysdale that I would do my best to doctor her hibiscus.
Oh, that's wonderful of you. I know she's terribly worried about it.
Yeah, the poor thing was crying the last time I seen her. Just how bad is it?
Well, I'd say it's about half gone.
No!
Yes, one side is withered and turned brown.
Oh, this is going to take some doing to save that.
Yes, the nurseryman is in favor of just taking it out completely.
No! I told Miss Drysdale that. Don't let him do that. Cutting something out is the last resort.
No, I'm sure Mrs. Drysdale agrees with you. She wants desperately to save it. She's had 2 blue ribbons on it.
Don't you tell her I told you. That ain't going to help nothing.
Here you are, Granny. You can split a frog's hair with that.
Oh, thank you, Jed. Come on out to the kitchen, Miss Jane. I'm mincing me some crawdads for Miss Drysdale's party.
Oh, no, wait. That's what I want to talk to you about. Please don't go.
What?
What?
And disappoint Miss Drysdale?
Just when she needs us?
And we give our promise?
Please believe me, you will not enjoy it.
Well, this is a poor time for us to be thinking of our own enjoyment when you-know-who has got a withered you-know-what.
Jed, everything's honed and sharpened.
Howdy, Miss Jane. Are you going to the party?
No, Ellie, and I hope none of you will go either.
What? What's got into you?
Now, hold on, everybody. I'll handle this. Miss Jane, you know how fond we are of you. You've been a good friend to us, but I reckon the time has come when we got to do what we know is right, and we're going to that party.
All right, if you insist. But you can't go to a garden party in those clothes.
Oh, of course not. We're going to put on our old clothes.
Old clothes?
Yes, ma'am. You can't expect us to do gardening work in our good clothes.
But you don't garden at a formal garden party.
What do you do?
Stand around and sip tea and listen to music and boring conversation. Now, do you still insist upon going? All right, but first, will you do one thing for me? Gee, I would like you to meet a society family who are on their way to your wife's formal garden party.
Are you kidding? I've got no time for those professional tea tasters.
I think you're going to like these people.
Entree.
Hi, Mr. Drysdale. Jed Clampett.
Emmy May. Jethro. And Granny, can that be you?
I ain't sure. You don't look like me.
Miss Hathaway, how did you do it?
Well, Chief, the fact that the bank held a mortgage on a certain movie studio was a great help.
Mr. Drysdale, you coming to the party?
Well, I don't ordinarily, but I will today.
Well, we see you there.
Bye.
So long. Goodbye.
He don't act a bit worried about his wife's hibiscus.
He couldn't care less. His wife's the one with the green thumb.
Oh, sure that's where it is.
Oh, hello, Millicent. So glad you could come.
Come on, Uncle Jed, the party's starting. Hear that music?
Yeah, but we got to wait for our women folks, Jethro.
Come, they's late.
Women is always late, Jethro.
How come?
No man can answer that. Probably no women neither.
There sure is a lot of pretty girls over there at the party. Can I sweet-talk me one, Uncle Jed?
Chances are she'd be with a feller.
If I whoop the fella, can I sweet-talk her then?
No, Jethro, this being our first Beverly Hills High Society garden party, I reckon we ought to just watch the folks and not go to scrapping. Unless, of course, everybody else does. In which case, be careful of your borrowed clothes.
Yes, sir.
Paul? Elmer and me's ready.
Hey, I don't recall Elmer being invited to the party.
Oh, can I take him, please, Paul?
Oh, I reckon not, Ellie.
No fighting or scrapping, neither.
Well, this party sure ain't gonna be much fun.
Oh, yes, it is. I make sure of that.
Remember now, Granny's rheumatism medicine is just for old folks with rheumatiz.
For not so old folks who want to ward it off. Providing, of course, they's married.
Well, come on, everybody, let's load up and cut through the hedge and get to the party.
Bye, Elmer.
Dorothy, all the way to Santa Barbara. How lovely. Oh, I beg your pardon, gentlemen. Have we met?
I hope to kiss the pig we have. He's your next door neighbor.
Our smelling salts.
Looks like we got here in the nick of time. She's looking a little peaked.
You leave everything to us, honey. All right, you young'uns, get them chitlins and that crawdad dip on the table over there.
Crawdad dip.
It's finger-licking good, ma'am, and so is these little hot possum sausages. Just a swimming in hog renderings. Don't burn yourself.
Anything tastes good after a few swigs of this.
Really would help.
Granny always brings a couple of jugs to barn raisins and quilting parties.
I've seen a jug of this razor barn pretty near single-handed.
And it gets credit for some right crazy quilts, too.
You want me to put these on the table, Uncle Jed?
Yeah, Jethro, but pass the word around. Nobody to touch it but married folks.
Now, what can we do to help you the most?
How soon did she say the overflow would commence to overflowing over here?
She didn't say no particular time, Jethro, but when it commences, we's in charge of it.
I'll see how it's going over there.
My possum sausages will be stone cold.
Really? Want me to take them in and put them on the stove for you first, Bill?
Thank you, Ellie. But be careful. Don't splatter any hog renderings on your party dress.
I won't, baby.
I don't blame them young'uns for getting restless. I'm getting a mite squirmy myself.
Me too.
Granny, I'd ask you to dance, but that is the sorriest dancing music I ever listened to.
Only one thing sorrier.
What's that?
It's stuff they call fruit punch.
It don't have much body to it.
Tastes like it was drawn off a barrel of rainwater that some apples dropped into it.
Pitiful.
Kid, you know what that stuff needs, don't you?
I sure do.
At least the overflow folks will get their whistle wet proper.
Jed! Uncle Jed!
How's the party going, Jethro?
Terrible. Everybody's just standing around. The only one moving's that fiddler player.
He's moving?
Yeah, he keeps walking up to different people playing in their faces, and they still won't dance.
Well, it ain't altogether their fault, Jethro. He plays that thing like he's stove up with rheumatiz.
Uncle Jed, I'm getting tired of standing around these here clothes. Can I go swimming?
Yeah, I reckon so, Jethro. Granny and me take care of the overflow.
Yeah!
Judging from what showed up so far, that alligator in the pond can handle them. Alligator!
Granny, that ain't no... Granny!
Thought I seen that varmint this morning, but I wasn't sure.
Granny! That ain't no real live alligator.
It ain't now. I blowed a hole in him you could swim a catfish through.
Granny, I reckon it's a mite late to be telling you now, but...
Hey! Hey, what happened? Is everybody all right?
Howdy, young feller. My name is Jed Clampett.
Kirk Massey.
And this here is Granny.
Howdy.
How do you do?
Hey, we've been listening to you sawing on that thing. Kind of sluggish, ain't it?
Well, that's what they want over there.
Well, it ain't what we want over here. Now, come on. We got the overflow here. Come on, let's liven things up a little bit.
Well, may I have some of the punch for
I
it first?
recommend it. Come on, everybody, get some punch. Here comes the hot sausages. This here is my daughter, Ellie Mae, and that young fella carrying the sausages is my nephew, Jethro.
Well, howdy.
Wow! Hey, Fred! Howdy!
Wow, Hey, Doris.
Hey, fellas!
Ravenswood, did you find anyone in the house?
No, madam. It's as deserted as the garden.
Oh.
Madam, might I have the rest of the afternoon off?
What? Oh, yes, I suppose so.
Oh, thank you, madam.
Party over so soon?
It's only 4:30.
Those dreadful hillbillies have stolen all my guests. All 300 of them.
Miss Drysdale, can I see you for a minute?
Careful of her hibiscus, Jed.
Any party, Miss Drysdale.
Thank you, Mr. Clampetts.
Letter to Mrs. Radner Fenwick. In reply to yours of the 10th, seeking capital for your contemplated housing development.
Mrs. Fenwick is seeking capital with her millions?
Well, she's too smart a businesswoman to take the whole risk herself.
Excuse me, someone to see you.
I told you no interruptions.
I told you no interruptions.
Sorry, Mr. Clampett, no interruptions.
Clampett! Well, come in, come in.
Well, I don't want to be no bother.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to see you, Mr. Clampett. Coffee for Mr. Clampett.
Coffee for Mr. Clampett.
You help.
Well, now, don't make no fuss over me.
Oh, it's my privilege to make a fuss over you, Mr. Clampett. I was going over your account just this morning. And do you realize that now you have almost $40 million in my bank?
Well, I reckon that money of mine is getting to be a powerful nuisance to you.
What?
Well, I'm obliged to you for storing it here, but it seems to me like I ought to be paying you rent or something.
Oh, no. I'm delighted to do it.
That's mighty kind of you. Now, I've come to ask you another favor.
More money to store?
No. I'd like you to get me one of them airplane tickets to go back home.
Oh, my pleasure. Home? Oh, you mean just for a little visit?
Oh, it's more than that.
Why, what's the matter? Did someone offend you? Was it my wife? Has she been shooting off her big Boston bazoo again?
Miss Drysdale, it wasn't that at all. Everybody's been surpassing good to us. Ellie Mae is the reason I want to go back to the hills.
Oh. Homesick, eh? Well, I tell you what. I'll have your cabin flown out here, log for log, and every tree and bush around it. And we'll put it in your backyard. Then we'll dig a creek, just like the one at home. And we'll stock the whole place with possum, raccoons, hound dogs, bobcats, and whatever Ellie wants. She could just run wild.
But that's what I moved out here to get Ellie away from. I was hoping you folks would turn her into a lady. But I think she's getting worse.
Coffee time!
You're to blame for this. It was your responsibility to turn that wild girl into a lady, and you failed.
What have you done now, you overdeveloped vixen?
No, not her. I'm talking about Ellie Mae Clampett.
But
Wait,
she...
Mr. Drysdale, Miss Jean done the best she knowed how. Why, as a matter of fact, it was her who got Ellie her first ball gown.
That's true. By the way, I haven't seen that gown since. What happened to it?
Oh, you sure was right. Oh, Huggins, you don't have to wear boys' clothes to have fun with boys.
Hey, May, you promised me you wouldn't wrestle.
I ain't been wrestling.
And what have you been doing in your ball gown?
Doing what I'm supposed to do, playing ball. Oh, I made 2 touchdowns and kicked 3 field goals.
Granny gave that gown a good scrubbing with her lye soap and patched it, too. But it never looked quite the same after that.
Mr. Clampett, we have failed you. And when I say we, I mean you.
But, Chief...
Don't argue with me.
What are you standing here for? There's work to be done.
But I just...
Don't argue with me.
Feel like I'm causing a lot of trouble for folks that ain't to blame. Now, if you just get me that airplane ticket...
No, Mr. Clampett. We'll work on Ellie Mae. We'll polish her.
No, Ellie Mae don't take a polish real easy.
We'll have to face it, gentlemen. Ellie Mae is a wildcat on wheels.
Oh, you heard about this morning, did you?
Heard what?
Ellie being on wheels.
Wheels?
Granny and me was having a cup of coffee. And all of a sudden, we heard this roaring noise.
If that's Jethro riding his fire-spitting bicycle again, I'm going to take a hickory stick to him.
Thank you, Granny. Want to go for a ride?
Sweet-smelling polecats. That was Ellie Mae.
Shut that door, Jed. I'll cut through this way and snatch her off that contraption and paddle her with Jed.
Granny, get away!
No, I won't.
Hold on, Granny, I'm coming. I never would have caught her if she hadn't rode that thing into the cement pond.
Oh, poor Granny.
When I pulled her out, she was madder than a wet hen. Wetter, too. Right then, her and me decided that what Ellie needed was a full-time mom.
You mean you're getting married?
Oh, I got to, for Ellie's sake. That's the reason I need that airplane ticket. I'm fixing to go home and court myself a hill woman.
How about a Beverly Hill woman?
Oh, these fine city women wouldn't look twice at a grizzled-up old mountain goat like me.
What are you talking about? Mr. Clampett, you are one of the most eligible bachelors in this entire city.
When word gets out that J.D. Clampett is seeking a bride, there will be women beating down your door.
Might be a good test for him. It'd take a strong one to handle Ellie. That's the reason I think I'd best do my courting back home, and the quicker the better.
No. Let me take care of everything. I guarantee I will find the woman right here in Beverly Hills, and today.
Well, that's mighty nice of you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Chief, I am as eager as you to find Mr. Clampett a mate locally. But should you have guaranteed to find him one today?
I'm not worried. Beside me, stalwart and true as always, I have the finest secretary in the world.
Thank you, Chief.
A loyal and dedicated girl, to whom responsibility is a sacred word. A girl who will never fail me when duty calls.
Thank you, Chief.
You'll make Jed Clampett a fine wife.
Me? I?
You.
But, Chief, I promised to Jethro.
Oh? Who promised you?
Me? I.
Excuse me, Mr. Drysdale.
Hey, what about her?
Oh, she's too young for Mr. Clampett.
I mean for Jethro. You're for Mr. Clampett.
What is it, Janet?
The guard downstairs just phoned to say that Mrs. Radnor Fenwick is on her way up to see you.
Oh, yes. It must be about that new housing development. She's... Hey, wait a minute. She's a widow.
Chief, Mrs. Fenwick and Mr. Clampett have absolutely nothing in common.
Are you kidding? They've got $100 million in common. And if I can get them together, I can have it all right here in my bag.
I'm looking for the office of the president. Mr. Pyersdale or Skyrsdale or something.
Welcome.
Oh, you're Mr. Flysdale.
At your service, madam.
Very well, Beasley. Bring in the maps and the blueprints.
Let me take your money.
Mink. Howdy do, ma'am. My name is Jed Clampett, and Mr. Drysdale, my neighbor, said you're prime for a little courting. I brung the guitar, and if we can set in your porch swing out yonder, I'll take a crack at serenading you. Excuse me, ma'am. I ain't done no active serenading and courting in nigh on to 20 years. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my
Jed?
darling.
What's all this nonsense about you courting a city woman?
Well, it was Mr. Drysdale's idea.
Well, it ain't worth shucks. City women is spoiled rotten.
Mr. Drysdale's gonna cull through a bunch of them and trot out the best of the lot.
All they think about is smearing themselves with beauty grease, fancy-smelling renderings. Why, if you was to hug one of them, she'd squirt out of your arms like a prune pit.
Well, at my age, I don't figure to do a whole heap of hugging.
What do you mean, your age? Why, you're a fine figure of a man. A heap too good for these Beverly Hills society women.
Judge Clampett speaking. Oh, howdy, Mr. Drysdale. You got any prospects for me?
Indeed, I have. Ever hear of Mrs. Radnor Fenwick of Fenwick House?
Fenwick, Fenwick? Oh, yeah, that's the widow Fenwick. Got the skinny daughter named Cynthia.
That's the one. And she's very interested in you, Mr. Clampett. Very interested indeed.
Well, you don't say. Granny, you remember the widow Fenwick?
Yeah, and you ain't gonna get no dowry out of her. She's poor as a church mouse.
Oh, Drysdale.
That's Drysdale, Mrs. Fenwick. D-R-Y, Drive.
Yes, so am I. How about some tea?
Good idea.
Well, what news?
Mr. Clampett is very interested indeed.
Just how interested? I will need $10 million to get this project rolling.
Well, I believe I could recommend that as a good, sound investment.
Splendid.
Provided you and Mr. Clampett hit it off personally.
Personally, this is business.
Well, Mr. Clampett is that kind of man. And it is important that his family like you, too.
I've no time to socialize with those eccentric hillbillies. I have here my general contractor's license. I'm ready to start bulldozing.
Mrs. Fenwick, both you and I know that those first 10 million are very hard to come by.
Oh. Very well, but remember one thing. I control this honeymoon lane venture. I'm not having anyone tell me what to do with their money.
Jed, I still say that you ought to go back home to do your courting, where the woman could bring you a dowry. You can bet dollars to dumplings that widow Fenwick ain't gonna come through that door leading no big fat sow.
Well, now, Granny, a dowry ain't everything. Widow's got experience. She raised a daughter of her own. You remember Skinny Cynthia?
I do. Here's your courting candy, Uncle Jed.
Oh, thank you, Jethro. Put it in the truck and put my guitar in there, too. Because Ellie fetches my flowers, I want you to drive me over to the widow Fenwick's.
Is that who you're going to court?
That's what I'm starting with.
Well, Uncle Jed, now that you're here in Beverly Hills, why don't you court one of them Hollywood movie stars?
Well, if things don't work out with the widow, I might just ask Mr. Drysdale, can he fix it so I can meet Lillian Gish? Maybe even Mary Pickford.
Now you're talking dowry. I bet you that Mary Pickford is good for a herd of milk cows and a barn full of setting hens.
Like they still living in this little house. Still got the name on it, big as life.
Yeah, poor but proud. Hey, Uncle Jed, I got an idea. How about me going inside with you and courting Cynthia while you court the widow?
I don't hardly think there's room in that little house to do double courting, Jethro. I'll tell you what. You come in and say howdy, and then take Cynthia for a walk, leaving the widow and me alone.
I get you on. You want to do some sparking, huh?
Widow Fenwick? Anybody home?
Widow?
Don't appear to be nobody home.
Well, hot and diggity dog. Now you and me can eat the candy.
Get out of there. Come on, let's go.
Do you wish the mink, madam?
No. I think better psychology not to appear too affluent in front of these hill types. However, I will take blue chip. Oh, Holmes always makes such a good impression. Wait in the car. I'll telephone if I need you.
Very good, madam.
By dingies, it's coming out of the ceiling and the walls and every place.
Somebody always comes to the door when that music plays.
I reckon that's what brings them in. They hear it playing out on the street.
Want me to go see who it is?
I'll do it. You get that contraption out of here. Well, Widow Fenwick, come in.
How do you do?
I see you managed to scrape up a dowry. Little lamb, ain't he?
Oh, indeed he is.
Well, he ain't much. But it shows your heart's in the right place. Come on out to the kitchen. We'll commence fattening him up.
I'm fixing to court you 'em all. Not bad.
Is that why the widow Fenwick done come over?
She here?
Sure is. Mr. Beasley yonder brung her over in his new car.
Beasley, huh? I sure hope Mr. Beasley ain't got first call on the widow. Wouldn't want to be grazing in another man's pasture. Especially him being a soldier in uniform.
Oh, splendid you've returned.
Howdy, Witter. I reckon I was at your place when you was coming over here.
Well, we're together at last, and now we can make up for lost time.
May, why don't you go out back and see if your granny needs some help?
Sure, Pa.
Well, Witter, seeing as we ain't at your house and we's over here, you mind stepping into my parlor?
The sooner we get down to business, the better.
Sure don't beat around the bush, ma'am.
Mr. Clampett, may I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am?
Your banker tells me you're worth $40 million.
Well, that's what I hear, give or take a few million.
Why do you drive around in that truck and dress as you do and eat grits and hog jowls?
Well, the way I look at it, Witter, if you got it, spend it.
All right. Thank you. Well, Mrs. Fenwick crossed me up, went over to see Jed Clampett. I wanted to prepare him before she got there.
Chief, you're a banker, not a matchmaker. Aren't you meddling where you don't belong?
Any place where there's $100 million floating around, I belong. Oh, hello, Granny. Milburn Drysdale. Yes, may I speak to Mr. Clampett, please?
No, you can't. He's in the parlor fixing to spark the widow. Bye.
Well, I've heard of skin the cat, spin the bottle, but what is spark the widow? Spark the widow! You see, it's already working. Now, who says I'm not a matchmaker, eh? Come on, let's get over there and help. I smell money.
Now.
Mr. Clampett, what are you doing? Can't we get to my proposal?
Well, ma'am, I kind of like to tune up, sing you a song or two first, kind of get you in the mood.
I'm in the mood.
Sorry, but I ain't. When I go to court, I always like to build up to it gradually.
But you're not going to court.
I ain't?
No, there's no need for that. Once we reach an agreement, my lawyer can handle everything.
Don't that kind of take the fun out of it?
Mr. Clampett, I am not in this for fun. Now, look, I'll put my cards right on the table. You are the man I would like to have come with me into Honeymoon Lane.
Well, thank you, ma'am. That's mighty flattering to an old goat like me.
Nonsense, you have what I'm looking for. So now, what is it? Yes or no?
You kind of got me pushed into a corner, Witter. I thought I was going to be the one to do the asking, not the answering.
Well, ask away. I have nothing to hide. What are you in doubt about? Your banker likes what I have to offer. Dun & Bradstreet have given me their highest rating. And the city engineer has approved my construction.
Ma'am, I ain't doubting them, but them's things a man kind of likes to find out for himself.
Clampett, I'm sorry to rush you, but time is money to me. There are several very wealthy men in this town that would jump at my proposal like that. But I like you. Now, I have the license, and I have the heavy equipment.
Yeah, I reckon you do.
All right, then, if you'll just answer yes, we can get started on Honeymoon Lane today. Now, what do you say?
Witter, ain't you being a mite pushy?
You're darn tootin' she is. And if she's this pushy, flat-busted broke, thinks what she'll be when she gets her hands on your money.
Did I hear you use the term broke in referring to me?
I did. You might be as proud as a peacock, but you're as poor as Job's turkey, and you know it.
My dear, quaint little woman, I am Mrs. Radnor Fenwick of Fenwick House. That home alone cost me $3 million.
For that little place? Winner, you got slicker.
Look out! I can't stop!
Lenny Mae, you have done ruined that door. I told you to leave that thing out in the shed.
No, you didn't, Paul. You just told Jethro to put it there.
Bitter, I know you ain't one to beat around the bush, and I'm going to speak plain myself. That young'un of mine's going to take a heap of teaming. Are you willing?
Are you kidding?
It'll be your job if and when you're her ma.
But I'm what?
Hop on, Ma, and I'll take you for a ride.
Now, hold on. The widow ain't your ma unless we get proper married.
Married? You and me?
Well, I don't hardly think we can get to honeymoon lane without it.
Mr. Clampett, I once said I would do anything for enough money. And I'll retract that statement.
What you meant by that?
Mrs. Fenwick is still here. That's a good sign. She and Jed must be hitting it off. Ah, Mrs. Fenwick.
Out of my way, dry pail.
Did something go wrong?
That hillbilly untouchable wants to marry me. Me!
You can't blame him, Mrs. Fenwick. You're a ravishingly beautiful, devastatingly seductive woman.
You are intoxicated.
Just a minute, Widow Fenwick.
Oh, my darling, I almost left you come to my arms.
I'm sorry, Widow. I just don't think we'd hit it off. Here's your dowry back. Widow Fenwick, sometimes the happiness we're looking for is right in our own backyard. Now you take Mr. Beasley there.
Oh, thank you. I shall. Quickly, Beasley, take me home. Oh, it's just all so confusing.
Kind of a skimpy dowry, but don't set too much store by that. How long you been in the service?
15 years, sir.
That long, huh? Well, maybe now with a good woman behind you, you'll soon have some stripes on them sleeves. World of happiness to the both of you.